compliment of the season from all of us at Adesuwa Bakery and Kitchen. Hello there, my name is Adesuwa and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I decided to bring to you just in time this beautiful, yummy, rich, moist looking fruit cake, just in time, perfect for the season. And first thing that I'll be doing is to run you through the ingredients, even though I'm still going to list them down below in the description box. You need some eggs, you need some butter or margarine, you need some golden syrup, you need some cinnamon powder, baking powder, nutmeg powder, and of course the star of the day, the soaked fruit. You need some flour, you need some, every of the ingredients will be down below in the description box. You need sugar, you need fruits, you need, all of those will be listed for you, and the accurate measurements will be down below in the description box. Now, first thing you will be doing is to put your butter in a clean bowl, and then you're going to add in your sugar. Now you're just going to add in 1 out of your cracked egg, just one. Emphasis on just one, not the entire eggs that you'll be using for this recipe. Now, immediately you've done that, you're going to get your flavor. I would list all of this in the description box, and you're going to whisk that with a hand mixer. You're going to mix this, and this requires a lot of patience. I mean, like, it requires a whole lot of patience, because you basically just want to cream this, margarine and sugar. So if you look at this video, you will notice how the thing transitions from a deeper color to a lighter color. And guess what? We are not done. At the time we are done, this thing will have tripled or quadrupled in size. So just stay tuned and watch how this thing continues to transition from a darker color to a lighter color. You are doing the right thing. We want a very fluffy fruit cake, so we're just going to mix this properly. Now I am still mixing, and I have not added any extra egg. You're going to keep on mixing this. You're going to cream it until it is so fluffy and it has increased in size, and you can no longer see any particle of sugar in this mixture. That is the time you proceed to the next step. Now make sure that you get like a spatula that you can use, to bring in what is on the edges, so that everything in your bowl is perfectly creamed. So just make sure that you repeat that process to make sure that everything is fully combined and you do not have any traces or any particle of your sugar. Now I am still going to continue creaming, but if you notice, this is not what we had initially when we started this process. Now this is how to cream your margarine and your sugar. So we're going to be creaming this for a whole lot. I do not know how long that's going to take. It's definitely going to take as much time depending on the quantity of what you are making. I am making use of 300 grams of margarine and 250 grams of sugar, even though I'm going to be listing all the ingredients down below in the description box. But that is why it might take me lesser time compared to if you're doing like 500 grams or anything. So I'm still creaming my butter, but notice how this thing has increased in size. Like, it is almost, filled up to the brim, and when we started this process it was so little, if you notice. Now I just got a bigger bowl and I kept my bowl into this because I do not want to make a mess, and I'm going to continue this process. So at this point it was time for me to add in 1 more egg, just to make sure that my butter and my sugar is properly creamed. So I added just 1 more cracked egg into this, and I am still going to continue creaming. So I am basically creaming it here to make sure that it is so fluffy and I do not have any trace of sugar. Yes, this is the point that we have been waiting for. If you notice, this has changed from what it was initially. So we move to the next step. And what is the next step? I'm just going to transfer this to a bigger bowl because I have not added in my flour and majorly most of my dried ingredients. So I'm just going to put this in a bigger bowl, so that it will give me, so much space for me to be able to mix it properly. Now get a sift and make sure that you sift your dry ingredients. I'm starting with the flour, and I'm just going to put this in the sift, and I am going to sift it until I have finished, everything in my sift. So, majorly there could be so much things that you really don't want. So that is the essence of doing this, and you just want it to be powdery because you don't want anything to serve as an obstacle. So I'm just going to add in the baking powder, the cinnamon powder, and my nutmeg powder into the sift, and I repeated the process of doing this, the same thing I did to the flour. I'm basically doing it to all of my dry ingredients. Now if you notice there was some chaff in the sift, imagine that in your cake. You don't want that. So it is time for us to add in the remaining eggs that will have, so we're just going to add that in, and it is time to mix. At this point you do not need to mix it too much. You are basically doing what they call combination of all of these ingredients, and please do not over mix at this point. Just mix until you begin to have something like what we are having right now. So when it begins to look like this, it is about time for you to stop mixing. Do not over mix. That is why it is very important that you cream your margarine and your sugar properly. So at this point, we're just going to stop so that we do not over mix our batter. So now it is time for us to go to the next step. And what is the next step, guys? The next step is to introduce majorly the remaining wet ingredients that we have. And we're going to be starting with our browning. Like I said before, I am going to list all of these ingredients in the description box. I'm also adding my black treacle into the mix, and of course I am adding my golden syrup. As you can see, this is golden. These are the twists that makes it a fruit cake or Christmas cake, anything you like to call it. So after adding this, you are still going to combine and make sure that everything is fully combined until the batter becomes brown, like what you can currently see on the screen. And what is the next process, guys? This is the star of the day. I mean, this fruit is like 3-year-old. It has been soaked in rum for 3 years. I'm going to do a detailed video to show you how you can soak your fruits. If you do not want the one that has traces of alcohol, I'm going to show you how you can do it. And that is why it is important that if you have not subscribed to my channel, you subscribe and you turn on notifications. So I'm going to be adding my raisins to the mix, and I am being very generous with that. Now I'm also adding in my red cherry, which is also a fruit. I'm going to add that in, and I am also very generous with this. At this point, guys, you do not need your hand mixer. You don't need any mixer whatsoever. You need either a spatula or your clean hand. I prefer to fold in these fruits with my clean hand, so I'm just going to mix it properly. As you can see, mix it slightly. Do not use a mixer. If not, it is going to make a mess of your entire fruit. It's going to break your fruit. You just will not like it. Please, at the point where you add in your fruit, do not use a hand mixer. Just mix manually with your hand. Now this is a 10 inches pan, and this is me oiling it with butter. I'm just going to add in some butter so the cake doesn't stick. And of course, parchment paper. I'm going to be adding that to the pan, just like you can see currently. And now it is time to introduce the batter to the pan. Guys, I want you to take note of how little this batter is. Do not forget to tap it in like this, like what you can see currently when you're done adding that. And we have extra, so we're just going to bring out our cupcake tray and add scoops of the batter, the leftover batter, into this, so that we can just have cake for everybody, for all the neighbors, for all the kids. It's the season to be merry. So you basically just want to make sure that everybody is eating Christmas cake. So I've done that now, and it is time for us to toss this into the oven. My oven is preheated already, and the next thing I am going to do is just to put this in the oven. So I just put that in the oven, and yes, that is just it basically. After putting this in the oven, you are going to cover this and allow it to bake. There is a twist. I do not want you to miss any part of this video. When the cake was almost ready, of course this is a smaller batter, so it will be out of the oven before the other one. When it was like 75 to 80% ready, I brought it out and I added in my raisins and my fruits, and I did the same thing with the other batter, basically because we want to make something very, very appealing to the eyes. Guys, look at this fruit cake. Look at this Christmas cake. This thing was barely half the size of this pan, but did you see how it's popped up? Did you see how fluffy it is? Did you see how it increased in size? I want you to save this video. I want you to share these videos with your friend. I want you to make a fruit cake this rich, this yummy, this fluffy, because it is the season. And if you have any question, do not forget to drop it down for me below in the comment section, and I will respond to you according to the questions you're asking. Can you see how fluffy, how moist, how yummy, and how delicious this fruit cake is? This is like the best you would actually find out there, and I want you to follow this process. Also, if you have a question, do not forget to drop it for me in the comment section. Yes, I'll respond to you. And we are not done. We are now going to feed our cake. This thing you can see has been soaked, this fruit has been soaked in rum for about 3 years. The older the better. So I'm just going to take some of the juice and we're going to feed this cake. So I'm just going to put that in a cup, and the next thing to do is to get what's it called? Oh my goodness, how did I forget this? Okay, so you're just going to get oh, I don't know what this is called anyways, but something you can basically just poke the cake with. So you're just going to poke the cake, and then you're going to add in this juice to your cake. You're basically feeding this cake, but please do not give this to children. If you want cakes for children, you can basically just keep feeding the cake. But of course, I'm going to be giving the cupcakes to the children. I did not do this process for the cupcake, so I'm going to give that to children, and this one for adults. This is the kind of cake that you just take with warm milk, and it's good night regardless of what the time is. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. I have so many more interesting recipes that you can find on my page, and I have more coming. And if you enjoyed this video and you watched up till this point, just drop me a comment, hit the like button, just tell me something very sweet and encourage me to do more of interesting videos that you would enjoy like this. Thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, bye.